So I just finished watching the final episode of The Boys, and honestly, finished isn't really correct. I actually didn't even finish the episode. I stopped after they killed Butcher, because it was just the whole finale just felt very underwhelming. I can't really say that it was bad, but I can't say that it was good either. It was more of like a lower mid tier. Like, it wasn't the worst thing ever, and I'm glad that it wasn't, but like, they definitely could have done better. Because what happened with the whole Scorched Earth thing? They didn't even leave the Oval Office. It was literally just some underwhelming ass fight in the Oval Office, and it was basically just a complete repeat of what they were trying to do in season 3, where they get Soulja Boy to depower Homelander so they could just kill him right then and there. They're gonna do that at Hero Gasm, but he managed to overpower them, right? How did he not manage to overpower them now in the Oval Office? Didn't he take V1? Like, V1 was literally for nothing. They did that for no reason. They spent like half of the season focusing on V1, and it's super important. And if Homelander gets it, it's over. Oh my God, he's gonna destroy the world. It's, oh my God, you know. And then he got it, but then nothing happened. You know, there was no visual difference in his powers. He didn't seem stronger. He didn't really destroy anything. He just killed off the random parody of Elon Musk that they just painfully, like, haphazardly inserted into the show. He had like 10 seconds of screen time, and honestly, that was super disappointing to me personally, because you could tell that like the writers spent way too much fucking time on Twitter. So I was at least looking forward to them making fun of real life events that were happening in American culture, right? Like the beef between Trump and Elon and everything, and how like he was basically like inserting himself into the whole election and like what Trump was doing, and then how he essentially got kicked out because he was being too nerdy and too like lame and no one actually liked him. I'm really disappointed that they didn't end up doing anything with that, because that could have been really funny. And also, you could tell that like they spent a lot of time essentially making Homelander a discount Trump. Like, the whole metaphor for his character just completely devolved into he's like Trump but with a cape. And it's really weird, it's because they spent a lot of the last season trying to humanize Homelander. What was that, like season 3 or season 4? I'm pretty sure that was season 4. They spent a lot of time trying to humanize Homelander, giving him a backstory and everything, and having him meet his dad, and like really delving deep into his psychology and why he does the things that he does. And then they went from that to he's like Trump with a cape. He's just like every other strong man. When you take away his power, he's nothing. It's like it was very underwhelming, and you could tell that the writers spent like way too much time on Twitter and Reddit. Like it was just like, and it's also, you could feel the change in the show from like season 2 to season 3. In season 3, it wasn't as egregious, but apparently they had like a massive like shift in the writers team. Like a whole bunch of key writers left. I heard that one of them wrote Breaking Bad, or helped write Breaking Bad, which explains like the insane quality of like season 1 and 2 and how good that was, and how that felt totally different from what we got later on. And also, the current writers lost their vision on what exactly they were trying to plan, because the whole show was kind of about making fun of American culture and the decay of mainstream media, and like how it gets corrupted, and why people hate celebrity culture so much, like why it's stupid to love celebrity culture, and why it makes sense to hate it more, you know? Because like these superheroes, they were essentially supposed to represent literal they were celebrities, obviously, but they were supposed to represent real life celebrities and the things that people in real life look up to. People, you know, like Kanye West or Katy Perry, or like products, brands, corporations, and why all of that at the end of the day is like just like they're just maggots in the shit pile that is American culture, you know, or just the mainstream media in general. And like how corrupt everything is. That's what The Boys was supposed to represent and make fun of, and that's why the show was so funny and gripping and compelling at first. It's because they put these superheroes in kind of a real life situation that mirrors what's actually going on with politics in Hollywood, right? how they're all secretly degenerates behind closed doors, how everything they say on camera is totally fake, how Billie Eilish doesn't actually care about people living on stolen land because, you know, she's been living on that stolen land for years, and literally, like, she's a fucking nepo baby, and so is like the rest of these fucking celebrities. But that's a whole other tangent, right? That's a whole other tangent. But these characters, the Supes, were supposed to represent that. How unbelievably shallow Hollywood is, how counterproductive American politics is, you know, and kind of like putting a magnifying glass on it and just making fun of every aspect of it. That's what made the first 2 seasons so good. And also the characters actually kind of made sense. But then in season 3, you could kind of feel a shift in the writing. I honestly like season 3. I like the concept of like them taking Temp B and like getting their own superpowers, because they kind of did something like that in the comics, but they only got like the strength and durability buffs. No actual personalized superpowers. So it was super interesting when Butcher had like a power that kind of resembled Homelander's and Huey's own power and everything, like how like he teleports and stuff. Like it's kind of like how his inner nature compels him to run away from conflict, but his entire character was about overcoming that nature and growing a pair of balls, right? But later on in the show, you could tell that the writers just spent way too much time on Twitter, and they just completely forgot what they were actually trying to accomplish with the show, and everyone kind of became archetypes. No one was actually like a real character. Like MM was this family man who was trying to avenge his grandfather and like and put an end to Vought and this insane corporation, right? Butcher was obviously trying to avenge his wife and all that, right? And everything kind of revolved around Vought and how the Supes and their corruption was nothing but a symptom of the broader corporation that they worked for, right? It was never about Homelander. It was never about A-Train. It was about Vought. It was about these corporations and how they corrupt the culture and how they profit off of that, corruption, right? And how that these heroes of the story are going to put a stop to that. And also in season 3, it was super interesting how Butcher, in a sense, hated Supes, but in a like Nietzschean way. Like he kind of had to become the very thing that he hated in order to truly fight back against them. I thought that was super amazing, right? And the new writers team were kind of showing some promise. Like, yeah, it was a little weird, it was a little different. You can feel the difference in the script writing, but then it completely like took a weird shift at season 4, and it's especially noticeable in season 5. It's because the dialogue feels like it was written by Vivziepop. There is so much goddamn swearing in The Boys. It's actually unbearable. It's like a middle schooler just got permission to swear from their parents, and they don't know how to properly string the cuss words together, so they just say fuck every other word. It's so unbelievably annoying. It's actually Vivziepop tier comedy, you know? Everything is so vulgar and raunchy, which is like, yeah, it's a show for adults, it makes sense, right? But there was no point to it. It used to be kind of funny in a way. Like with Herogasm, yeah, they did take that from the comics, but my point still stands. Like with Herogasm, it was supposed to represent that, oh, these people are like complete degenerates, so obviously they're going to do disgusting, horrible things behind closed doors. And, you know, it was a little creative, the kind of shit that they would get into with their superpowers. Like the guy who shrunk and went down that, you know, who went down the other guy's dick. Like that was a little funny, right? But they just kept going with it. And it wasn't even creative anymore. Like the whole thing with Kimiko learning how to speak, actually, like that was, oh my god, that was horrible. And not to mention Sister Sage's entire character arc, like her biggest desire, like the resolution to her character arc being the smartest woman in the world was just to become a retard and get really into Harry Potter. Like that is so unbelievably nihilistic and like thoughtless. It's actually the most brainless fucking take of all time. Like, oh my god, being smart is a curse. I wish I was like a dumb person. It's like you could tell that the writers are kind of jacking themselves off, like they kind of see themselves in Sister Sage. Oh my god, she's just like me. I'm really smart and I wish I was retarded. It's like it's so fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid. I don't know, dude. I can rant on and on about how horrible that ending was, especially the shit with Black Noir. the new noir. See, I hate how there was a consistent pattern in this show after season 3 where they would set things up and then not follow through with them. They clearly had like a Gardner storyteller style, you know, where like they would plant these seeds in certain areas of the story to make you remember them and make you think that they were going to mean something later, and then they just completely spit in your face. And the biggest example of that is New Noir, right? Because he had the ability to fly. He had talked about how he wanted to fake his healing with Homelander to help him come out as like the new God or new Jesus or whatever, right? So he's gonna regain his ability to speak, he was gonna gain the ability to fly and all of this shit, and it was gonna make the public think, oh my god, like he can perform miracles, he really is a god. But like, they didn't do anything with that. He died because the Deep stabbed him in the neck with a knife. That is so... These people are bulletproof. The power scaling in this show makes zero sense. These people are supposed to be bulletproof. How did a knife do him in? How did Homelander get held down long enough for him to lose his powers? Why didn't he just laser Kimiko? He has laser vision, he spams it nonstop. You mean to tell me his knee-jerk reaction to 90% of his problems he just decided not to use on Kimiko at the risk of being depowered? He managed to break free from being held down from Butcher, Soulja Boy, and Huey in season 3 before being depowered, right? Why couldn't he do that this time? Doesn't he have V1 in his system? He should be way stronger. Like, they don't understand, like the writers don't understand power scaling at all. They don't even remember half of the seeds that they plant throughout the story that are supposed to have meaning later on. It is genuinely like a masterclass of incompetence. And the way that the writers tried to smugly put everyone down for criticizing them, rather than just taking the criticism to heart and understanding that they need to improve on a bunch of things and that they disappointed a fuckload of people, it's, oh my god, it was, I hate this fucking show. I hate this show. I want to rewatch it because I really want to see how bad it is. You know, like, I want to rewatch the entire show to really compare and contrast the first 2 seasons to the rest of them, all of the shit that they set up and all the things that they didn't follow through on, right? Because it really is, like I said, just a masterclass of incompetence. Like, it's, oh my goodness, this show sucks.